You don't need to be an engineer to get eIDAS 2.0 badly wrong. Many failures start with strategic and integration choices made by non-technical leaders. In this course, you'll see where the real risks hide and how to steer projects safely and confidently without writing a single line of code. In eIDAS 2.0 initiatives, you're accountable for the business outcome, even if you never touch the technology. What you must own is the risk. Most failed identity or wallet projects don't collapse because developers wrote bad code. They fail because leaders underestimated integration complexity, cross-border dependencies, governance, or legal constraints. Your job is to spot those risks early, link them to business impact, and insist they're managed. Throughout this course, we'll focus on recognizing red flags, where wallets plug into existing journeys, where trust services affect liability, and where assumptions about timelines or vendors are unrealistic, so you can steer outcomes without being the architect. When people first hear about EUDI wallets, the request often sounds deceptively simple. We just need to connect a wallet. In reality, integration is far more than calling an API. You need to align identities so external wallet attributes correctly match your internal customer and account records. You need data models that translate eIDAS attributes into formats your legacy systems can actually use. Your existing business rules and workflows must accommodate new edge cases and exceptions. And all of this has to sit inside solid compliance, audit trails, consent management, and evidence you can stand behind in front of regulators or a court. When you plug a EUDI wallet journey into your organization, the friction rarely comes from the wallet itself. It comes from the 4 systems it has to talk to. First, your identity and access management stack. The wallet may prove who the user is, but IAM still has to map that identity, create or update accounts, and manage the full lifecycle. Second, your legacy applications. These often have undocumented behavior, fragile APIs, and business rules that were never designed for external identity sources. Third, your signing and trust platforms. They must line up with eIDAS requirements, support qualified signatures where needed, and still be usable from real customer journeys. Finally, your customer channels. Mobile, web, in-branch, and call center flows all need coherent experiences. The key takeaway: wallet integration is an end-to-end exercise across your stack, not a cosmetic change at the login screen. When organizations plan eIDAS or wallet integrations, they almost always underestimate timelines. The pattern is surprisingly consistent. First, internal coordination slows everything down. Security, legal, compliance, and DevOps often work from different assumptions. Security wants stronger controls, legal worries about liability and data sharing, DevOps just wants something that actually runs. If those tensions aren't surfaced early, they explode during build and testing. Second, you're dependent on third parties. Trust service providers or wallet vendors might still be clarifying APIs, certification status, or national specifics. Each small change on their side can cascade into rework on yours. Third, late discovery of legacy debt hurts most. The simple integration suddenly touches an ancient KYC platform, a brittle signing service, or manual back-office checks. The practical rule: involve enterprise and solution architects before you commit to dates. Ask them to map dependencies, surface constraints, and design realistic phases, so your roadmap is credible rather than optimistic fiction. When you choose wallet or trust service providers, you're not just buying software. You're effectively choosing part of your future architecture. The biggest risk is lock-in. Discovering 3 years from now that you can't change direction without breaking channels or contracts. To reduce that risk, start by probing interoperability. Which standards do they implement? How do they handle other wallets and trust service providers? And do they pass conformance tests? Next, examine portability. Can you export keys, logs, configurations, and reference data in usable formats? And is there a documented migration story if you ever leave? Then review the product roadmap. Are you getting a stable, maintained core or a pile of experiments? You want clarity on support lifecycles and on how they'll track the evolving EUDI ecosystem? Finally, check regulatory agility. How quickly do they react to eIDAS 2.0 and national guidance updates, and how transparent are they about compliance gaps and remediation plans? Once you start consuming identity data as a relying party, your risk profile changes dramatically. Think of it as handling radioactive cargo: powerful, but dangerous if you lose control of it. There are 3 big areas to keep in mind. First, data exposure. Cross-border wallet and trust service flows increase your attack surface. Second, attribute misuse. It's easy to reuse verified data for purposes customers never agreed to. Third, traceability. Regulators will expect you to prove, over time, exactly what you did with which data. The guiding principle under eIDAS 2.0 is simple: data minimization. Only request, process, and retain what is strictly necessary for a clearly defined purpose. Think of your first eIDAS 2.0 projects like constructing a building. The discovery phase is your structural defense against bad surprises later. Begin by mandating a short, focused technical discovery before anyone locks in scope or dates. The goal is to surface constraints: legacy systems, wallet providers, trust service options, and regulatory must-haves. Then, co-create the integration map with your architects and key vendors. You want shared ownership of where wallet flows, signatures, and attribute checks will actually plug into current journeys. After that, define your non-functional requirements early. Be explicit about performance, security, resilience, monitoring, and auditability for every relying party use case. Finally, phase your rollout. Run contained pilots on 1 or 2 journeys, learn where friction and risk appear, then scale. A disciplined discovery loop here will save months of rework during implementation. As a leader, you don't need to design the wallet integration, but you do need to ask sharp questions. Start with dependencies. Have your teams mapped every legacy system and third-party service the wallet will touch, including obscure back-office tools? Next, challenge vendor lock-in. Is your data portable? Could you switch wallets or trust service providers in 2 years without a rebuild? And what's the exit path? On data hygiene, insist on data minimization. Which attributes are you taking, why, and how long do you keep them? Then explore friction points. Where exactly will wallet flows intersect with fragile legacy code, and what's the rollback plan? Finally, push for validation. Have security and privacy architects reviewed not just the diagrams, but concrete user journeys and failure scenarios? As you move from learning to action, keep one idea front and center: awareness beats heroics every time. eIDAS 2.0 isn't just a new API or another vendor. It reshapes how your organization thinks about identity, risk, and trust. Treat integration as an enterprise change, not a technical afterthought. Make the hidden complexity visible early, and design your roadmap to surface risks when they're still cheap to fix. The relying parties that succeed are the ones asking hard, uncomfortable questions before they commit.